But to that person that's trying to go, am I better off investing 20,000 in PR or in social ads, just as a rough example? How do you think they should go about trying to make that decision?
It's so funny because I had this happen to me before with a
Mhm,
restaurant down here. They came to me with like a $40,000 budget over 3 months for ads to promote
mhm,
the opening of their restaurant. And I was like, "Okay, well, you can give me the 40,000. We'll work longer than 3 months and we could potentially get you in all of these places where you want to advertise and get you more." And the thing is with PR, it's there when you land the coverage, it's most likely going to be there forever. With ads, when you stop spending money on an ad, it's gone. Like,
mhm,
it doesn't last anymore. Like a Facebook ad, you stop spending money, it goes away. But when you earn coverage, like, I can still find coverage that I've earned for myself or clients from years and years ago that people are still finding, that people are still, like, entering my funnel because they heard me on a podcast interview I did years ago. If that
mhm.
were an ad, after so many downloads, it disappears. So there's that aspect of it, and then the other aspect is the authority and credibility piece. Anybody can spend money and be anywhere. That doesn't mean you're an authority. That doesn't mean you're credible. It doesn't mean you're good at what you do. It just means you had the money to get there. When you earn the coverage, it's like you're there because you're worthy of being there. And it's like a third party endorsement. It's like a referral from a friend. So it just builds that know, like, and trust factor
Mhm.
so much more than an ad would. And it's just, I feel like the only time we really pay attention to ads anymore are two different times. One time, the Super Bowl, just because we know people are paying a ridiculous amount of money to be there and we want to see how creative they can be with their
Yeah.
ad. And then the second time is honestly when you consider the person sharing that ad. So, like, for example, like, Josh, I've sponsored your newsletter
Mhm.
before, and I'm interested in the people who are sponsoring the For the Interested newsletter because I know, like, and trust you. So I know that you're not going to put an ad in there that is like random and not on brand for you. It's very different than that it's very different than traditional media, honestly, because who you decide gets to advertise is a reflection of you and your brand. So I feel like those are a couple of times when advertising is different than PR. But again, with PR and earning the exposure, you get that authority and that credibility and you build that know, like, and trust factor so much more than you would with an ad. And then it lasts forever. Like people
Yeah.
can find this podcast for years and years to come.
Let's hope so. The other thing I would say about that is you can also do a hybrid. So I'm going to give sort of two examples of this, right? So for example, let's take your restaurant. And again, it
Mhm.
depends on their budget and whatever. But hypothetically, if a restaurant hired you and you were able, let's because the restaurant's obviously local business, right? So let's say you were able to get the local newspaper to do some coverage and write some article and say, oh my God, it's this amazing mom and pop thing. It's one of the best restaurants and blah, blah, blah. Like you got to go. That hit that you got through PR can then be amplified with ads.
I
And I
love
think
that.
this is something that people miss a lot of the times. So
Oh,
if you're gonna spend money on ads as opposed to the generic ad, to your point, get the trust factor of the press coverage and amplify that. I had a client once who was a Hollywood talent manager, and I used to talk to him all the time because when he represented actors and stuff, right? And so in the entertainment trades, like someone books a role, and they try really hard to get Variety or the Hollywood Reporter, whoever, to write a thing about cast and blah 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 blah, and they'd be excited. Like that's a sort of traditional PR thing, and they'd be excited, and the client would be excited. Oh, I got cast and I was mentioned in Variety and blah blah blah. But the problem is, especially now, and this is a huge shift from print days to internet. So print had limited pages. And everybody read back in the day, everybody read Variety every day. And if you were in there, like the whole town would see. Now, online has infinite pages. Just because this actor gets written about in Variety doesn't mean anybody's actually really seeing it because it's just buried online. So, what I had said to him was, you very cheaply can be promoting that article in an ad, targeting people who work at studios and casting directors and all the people that you want. And I actually think it's irresponsible not to do this
oh, amen.
because it's not going to cost much of anything. Whereas if you didn't, having that article allows you to amplify that and get the people you want to see it. But if you don't have the article and you just post on your thing or the actor posts, hey, I got cast in whatever, and you run the ad, It's not the same. There's that legitimacy that comes from, oh, Variety is covering this guy. But I think there's again, there's false perceptions on both sides, right? There's a false perception that I can just run ads and media coverage doesn't matter. And then there's a false perception now that just because I got media coverage, I don't need to run ads. It was in Variety. Well, nobody saw it.